Good morning, welcome to Furry and Spoilt. Hope that you're all well. You and your dogs are all doing well. We've had a bit of a week of it, so let me go through it with you. Two of my dogs got a stomach bug. Humps has had itchy skin because of the air conditioning, and our tortoise bit Harry. So, all in all, it's been a week. So I just thought I'd go through with you the things that I've done because you might pick up some tips that would be able to help you if your dog gets ill. So let me start with the stomach bug. So Humps here had it, and then Albert is around somewhere, my little Bichon. And those two had a stomach bug. It showed up differently for them both. So Humps he had very runny poos with it. Albert was actually sick with it. So there's just a bug going around at the moment for dogs, and two of mine have caught it. Harry hasn't caught it yet, so I'm hoping that we're over and done with and that he's not going to. So I just wanted to show you how I deal with it. So whenever they do, because sometimes dogs do get a bit of a runny tummy, they might be sick sometimes. Doesn't happen often with mine, but it does happen. And, they've just caught bugs or, something they've eaten. You just never really know. But it does happen sometimes. And so what I do is I let them have one day of it to see if their system will just kick in and they can fix it on their own. Don't like to always jump in. I like to let their immune system try and deal with it. So I give them one day of it to see if they can. If after that one day they're still runny, which Humps was, so he had one day where so my dogs generally just have one, they go to toilet for a poo once a day in the morning, and he went to that. No, he woke us up early in the morning. He needed to go out, and he had a very squitty poo. So that was the first, and then throughout the day he was like going out in the garden and doing squitty poos, which is really not like him. He's normally once in the morning, good and firm, and that's it. So I let that day be. Obviously, made sure he was all right, made sure he was drinking, looked after him. But I let that day be. And then the next morning, normally they're fine, that's it. Normally by the end of the day, that would be fine. But the next morning he woke up and his poo was still looser than I wanted it to be. So when that happens, I go onto the Pro Kolin. Now, I went to a vet probably about 15 years ago, and they told me about this. And it's a really, really good product. And it sorts out the gut bacteria. And all the dogs I've had over the years, many, many, many dogs, this always sorts them out. I've never had a stomach bug or anything like that where this hasn't sorted them out really quickly. And it's just, like I said, it's just a paste, and it helps their gut bacteria, and it really, really fixes them well. And it just comes like this, and it tells you how much to give your dog, and you just turn that to get to how much you want. And you just squirt it into their food. It doesn't taste great. They don't like it, which I like that, because I think if they liked it, that would mean that it was sugary and, all that kind of rubbish in it. But they don't like it, which I always think is a good sign. So you have to really mix it in with their food, or else they won't eat it. But it works really, really well. So I put him onto this Procolin. There's a link in my description. I just get it from Amazon if you want it. And that sorted him out right as rain. By the end of the second day, he was all fine and all good. So that was one day, and then the next day, little Albert, he's not out here, he's asleep indoors. He started wanting to eat grass, which actually I will talk to you about in a minute. He wanted to start eating grass, so that's a sign to me that he's feeling sick. And then he ate the grass, and then he was sick. And that happened. So we had one day where he was being sick, and then the same thing happened the next morning. So I left him for that day to see if his system would sort it out, because so often it does. I mean, this doesn't happen often to my boys, but when they get a bug, often their system will just sort it out. And then the next morning he was sick in the night, so that was it. I put him onto the Procolin, and he was right as rain. Really, really quickly recovered. Really, really good. It's really good. But the point I want to make is, if you use the Procolin and your dog goes on to still be ill after that, then it's really important that you get to the vet. But I've never known it. If it's just a bug, that always sorts it out really quickly. The other thing that happened this week was Humps. He got right. So he's come from South Korea, where it's incredibly humid, and so any kind of dry air he doesn't deal very well with. whether we have been incredibly humid this summer. It's a very humid summer, and so that's fine for him. But what he doesn't do well with is when the central heating goes on, or if we put air conditioning units. Now, we don't have air conditioning like, you know, wall mounted. Ours are portable air conditioning units. But as soon as they go on, he gets itchy. And this has happened, we've had him 2 years now. And it happened last year and it's happening this year. So what happened was and I know it's the air conditioning because it's really humid outside. So it's not that the air outside is too dry. And I have talked about that in other videos. But it isn't that the air outside is too dry. The air outside is humid and that's fine for him. But I have had to put the air conditioning on a little bit, especially at night because it has been warm. And that is what is setting him off. So what I do is, the first thing I've done is, because it's not like a particular spot on him is itchy, it's just general, so he's just generally itchy. And so I go to this product, which again is a product, I've been using it for years, this product. It's really, really good. Johnson's Tea Tree Skin Calm. I go on about it all the time. It's such a good product. It comes in a cream and it comes in a liquid. And the reason that I love that so much is because if you actually can see a spot, like supposing it's an insect bite or hot spot, something like that, the cream is ideal. But the reason I really love it is if you're just dealing with general itchiness, which is what he's got, he's just generally a bit dry and itchy, then the spray, you can just spray a general area. And so it's really, really good for that, for just spraying the general area and then just distracting them so it can soak in. And that has sorted him out great. He was really, like, he had a morning where he was really sort of dry and itchy and he kept going at him. So I just sprayed him with that and it sorted him out really nice. The other thing I've done is he did have a really beautiful, long, luxurious tail. And I've cut it all really short because it was stopping me from being able to see the back of his legs very clearly. And I wanted to make sure I could see the back of his legs and make sure that there wasn't anything else there. It was just a general bit of itching. And it is. And I sprayed him with that spray. And it's done him actually absolutely brilliant. So I'm really, really pleased with that. If your dog is generally itchy, I talk about hot spots and all of that sort of stuff so much, because it was something that I suffered with my little Albert an awful lot. And so if your dog is itchy, it could be a number of things. And I'm going to pop a video up at the end for you to see. And it's talking about all the different reasons why your dog could be itchy. Unfortunately, I have way too much experience with this because of my little Albert, who is in the sitting room fast asleep. We'll go and find him in a minute. But because of what he went through with his hot spots, and I had to become an expert in them, or else he wasn't going to make it. So I'm going to put a video up at the end, and I'll put it into the description. And that is talking about all the different reasons why your dog could be itchy, because there were a few different reasons. But with humps, just from experience, I just know it's caused by... Oh, hold on. Sorry about that. We had a cat jump into the garden. Cats are the bane of my life. And why they keep insisting on coming into our garden, I will never know. Anyway. So, yeah. So I've linked that other video in the description, just talking about all the different reasons why your dog could be itchy. Something else I want to show you is, so our garden doesn't have any grass. But when dogs feel sick, like they actually want to be sick, grass really speeds it up. And so I like to always have it available for them, because why, if you've got something that really speeds up the being sick process, why, I just want to speed it up. But I don't have grass growing in the garden. So what I do is I go on Amazon and I buy a packet of wheat, just a packet of wheat seeds, wheatgrass, and I grow them into a pot on the kitchen windowsill, because if I put them straight outside, the birds eat them, the seeds. Right, I'll try again. Don't work with children or animals, eh? So I grow the wheat on a pot on the windowsill. I'll show you the packet in a minute so you can see. And then when they sprout really quickly. I take them into the garden and I plant them here. So that's 2 pots worth, and it means that I've always got grass for them. I don't, if they see that, they'll go and eat that themselves. But with little Albert, when he was feeling sick, I just needed to help him out a bit. So I just break a bit off and feed it to them. They'll only eat it if they're feeling sick. But it really, really helps. This is just grass seed, but it's nowhere near as successful. But the wheatgrass, it comes up good and thick, and they like it, and it really helps. Let me find you the packet. So this is what it is. I just get this bag off Amazon. Organic raw wheat grain. And this might confuse some of you, because I'm constantly going on about not feeding your dogs wheat or grains. Like, it is so bad for dogs. But this doesn't have that effect. Just a little bit of the grass does the job, doesn't cause any problems. If I think about it, I'll pop it in the description so you can see it in there. And that works really, really well at just helping them. And if you're new to dog ownership, there is this crazy myth going around that your dog shouldn't be eating grass, that it's a bad thing. And I see people on dog walks all the time, like they're ashamed that their dog's eating grass. It's a very natural thing for dogs to do, and if they're not feeling well, it makes them feel better. It's a very natural thing to do indeed. The other thing that happened, I'll tell you what I do want to show you quickly. With Humps getting itchy with the air conditioning, I just up anything in his diet that is oily, just to help him out a bit with it. So let me take you to my supplement cupboard. So for me, that is, so I give them a spoonful of coconut oil every day. And so when he's just itchy from the air conditioning, I up that, give him a bit more of that. And the other thing I do is I give them a spoon of tinned salmon every day. And when he's going through his itchiness, I just up that. Turmeric is something that I give them every day, amongst other stuff, and that is brilliant because it's an anti-inflammatory, so that's going to help them out. So I just up that. So that was that. So sickness all sorted out, that's all sorted out. Dry skin all sorted out, that's all fine. Let me tell you the other thing. So we have a tortoise who has free reign of the house and garden. Well, not the whole garden, just up to those steps, which works out great because after that we've got soil, so she would be able to dig and escape. But she has free reign of the garden and the house, and that's always been fine. And recently, I think it started last year, I say she's actually a he. We discovered she was a he after a while. Started to get into adolescence, and she started to get very territorial, and she turned very, very aggressive. Now, you would think tortoises wouldn't do that. This whole myth of them being slow and just, floating around and all of that is rubbish. When they are in adolescence, they are really, really aggressive. And so it started last year. So it doesn't last the whole time. I mean, she's awake for about, she's awake for about, probably about maybe 5 months of the year. They're not awake. She's a Horseville tortoise, and he's not awake for an awful long time. So when the sort of the aggression kicks in, there's like a kind of a time. We just know that, and we're very careful, and the dogs and her are kind of kept separate, and it's all very organised and all very good. But this year, she had her little sort of aggression time when she was being a bit aggressive with them, and we did what we had to do, and it was all fine. And then so she was fine, she was being friendly with us all, she was just wandering around, it was all fine, it was all great. Suddenly, out of nowhere, we're all just in the kitchen wandering around without any warning. She just lunged at Harry here. He wasn't doing anything. He wasn't bothering her, because it's very supervised. I'm always around. They're never left on their own. And so she just lunged at Harry here and bit him on the back leg. And luckily, he screamed and flicked her off. And luckily, she didn't break the skin, because tortoises' bites are incredibly hard. if I take you to where she lives. So this is our kitchen, as you well know if you know my video. And this is where she lives. And so the idea is that she has this fire guard up. And that is there so that the boys can't get in and steal her food. Because they'll go in there and take her food. That doesn't flash all the time. It's just the way the camera picks it up. And then the idea is that this is left open. She can wander out into the garden, and she's got all the freedom, or she can come into the house. But now what I'm having to do is, when the boys are in the kitchen, I'm having to close this up so she can't get out. And so this went up a few days ago. She actually isn't up yet. She's fast asleep in her house. But yesterday she was really trying to get at them, and it was quite scary. She was being quite aggressive with them. But she was behind there, and it was fine, and she couldn't get to them. So when they're in the kitchen, the great thing about our garden is she can be in this bottom part, and the boys can be in the top part, and that is just great because that means everyone can be separated. And so then when we go into the sitting room or whatever, we're just not in the kitchen, I just open it back up and she can wander around. But it was a bit of a shock because she did it without any warning, whereas normally she have her a little aggressive, like we know she's being aggressive and we know we have to take extra precautions. And I keep saying she, but I mean he. But yeah, just out of the blue, just lunged and went for him. So we've had to change how we live, which is a real shame because I like everyone to have the freedom. But obviously I can't have that happening. I can't have anybody being bitten. So that's that. So let me just check my list, make sure there wasn't anything else I wanted to talk to you about. Nah, that's it. That's everything. So that's how I've dealt with those problems. And everybody's well and happy, and it's all good now. Isn't it, Pickle? Yeah, they're all fast. They're all tired. They just had their walk, so they're all very tired. So that's it. So if you've got any questions about any of that, just let me know, and I will see if I can help you. So I'll try to remember to list that grass seed in the description. Everything else I don't think the Kolin's in there. I'll add the Kolin as well. But the tea tree stuff is in there, and it's just listed in the description. And as always, anything that's listed in that description is a product that I've used for many, many years and really like. I don't just use anything on my dogs. So you can trust anything that's in that list, and it's not sponsored. I just put it there. I'm on social media if you need me. I'm on Instagram, but not an awful lot at the moment. But TikTok is where I am the most. Over on TikTok seems to be where you all are, so that's where I am. But if you need to message me, you can get me on Instagram, or you can pop stuff into comments. So that's us for this week. Hopefully this week going forward will be a bit not so eventful. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye bye.